I've had a hard time trying to figure out what I wanted to cook today, so I decided to just go to the pantry for inspiration, and I figured it out. A family staple, potatoes and sausage. Here we go. So I started with about 6 or 7 potatoes, medium and large size, and I diced them up. You can adjust according to your family size. I also cut up some bell peppers, some onions, and a little bit of jalapeno that I had left over from Taco Tuesday. I also grabbed 2 cans of corn from the pantry, some fresh cilantro, and I chopped up some Cajun andouille sausage that I had already in the refrigerator. For my seasonings, I'm going to use some seasoned salt, smoked paprika, garlic powder, olive oil, and salt and pepper. Now I'm going to start by taking the olive oil and pouring it over my potatoes. I want to make sure that I get it coated pretty nicely so that I can have my seasonings added and just make sure that they coat the potatoes nicely, because this is where the bulk of the flavor is going to come from for the dish. There's not really an exact amount to use for the olive oil. Just put enough on there so that you can coat your potatoes really well. And right now I'm stirring them around so that I can just make sure I get the olive oil all over it. Now I'm going to add in my pepper. You can adjust the salt and pepper and put in as much as you like or as little as you would like. I'm only going to add a little bit of salt because I try not to use too much when cooking. And now I'm going to add in my garlic powder, and my seasoned salt. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my smoked paprika. I just love the way smoked paprika tastes in pretty much almost all of my meals. Now I'm just going to go ahead and stir this up so that I can get those seasonings over each and every one of the potatoes. The olive oil really helps to make sure that those seasonings are spread throughout. And when you're done, it'll look something like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my oil and grease the bottom of my pan and brush it along the bottom and the sides. And you want to do this to help make sure that the potatoes and the veggies don't stick when you place the pan in the oven. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour in my very well seasoned potatoes. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my veggies. You can spread them out throughout the pan, or you can just dump them in all at once. It really doesn't matter because you're going to mix the items up in the pan quite a few times while they're in the oven, just to make sure that everything cooks smoothly and evenly. So I decided to go ahead and just mix it up a little bit also, because I wanted to make sure that the seasonings got on the veggies that were on the potatoes, and that way everything that goes into this pan is just absolutely full of flavor, and you'll taste those seasonings in every single bite. Now I'm getting ready to add in my andouille sausage, but I noticed that I had quite a bit inside one pan, so I split it up into 2 pans because I realized that I had more than enough. And this is great because this means that I'll have leftovers for my family. So I am just putting the sausage in both pans, and just like with the veggies, there's no right or wrong way to do it, because again, you're going to mix this up very good throughout the cooking time that it is in the oven. And now I'm just mixing it around to make sure that I get some of those seasonings onto the sausage, even though it's Cajun sausage and it's already pretty well seasoned, but it can't hurt. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of smoked paprika on the top, and then it is time to put it in the oven. Here we go. while I have that in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and work on the corn that will go in. So I have opened the corn and drained it, and I've also put about a tablespoon of olive oil into the pan. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add my corn in. And I'm going to use pretty much all of the same seasonings that I used for the potatoes. I'm just going to add one additional seasoning. So again, as with the potatoes, I just stir the corn up a little bit to make sure that I get some of that olive oil on each one of the kernels of corn, to just make sure that the flavor has something to stick to. All the seasonings will be able to stick to the corn. And now I'm adding in a little bit of garlic powder. And next, I'm going to add in some more smoked paprika. I absolutely love it. I feel like you can never have too much. Now I'm going to add in, basically it's like a Mexican seasoning. So it has a little bit of lime and a little bit of cumin mixed in. You don't need a whole lot of it, so I only used a little. And I'm going to add in a pretty hefty amount of cilantro. And now I'm just going to stir this up. You want to cook it until it starts to brown a little bit, or until the corn gets a little bit sticky in the bottom of the pan. You kind of want to go for a charred kind of taste, because it'll go really, really well with the spicy seasonings that you have in the dish as well. And now I'm going to add in a little bit of butter, because I mean, who doesn't need butter with corn? So I'm just going to let this cook for a little bit to kind of get that sticky sensation to it, and then it'll be all done. So this is what the corn looked like after it had been cooked for about 3 or 4 minutes. And afterwards, we're going to just set it to the side until we place it in the pan. Now I've taken it out of the oven, and I'm going to place my corn over the potatoes and sausage with the veggies. And you can kind of just eyeball about how much you want to put in the pan. I used 2 cans to be able to have a good amount for my family, and it worked out great with me having 2 pans for this dish. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix that corn in and just let all of those seasonings and flavors just marinate together in both of the pans. And sometimes when I cook this dish, I even add a little bit of bacon. It could be fresh cooked bacon or bacon bits. It gives it a nice little crunch. So you have potatoes and veggies with a little bit of crunch and lots of meat. I placed it in the oven for a few minutes and took it out. And now here is my daughter to do a taste test. Let's see if she likes it. I think she does. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and you'll cook it for your family. Bye!